Welcome to Live from HCIC 2023, a podcast series bringing you front row insights from the industry's brightest minds. In this 12-part series, we delve into the heart of the trends impacting health systems with leading experts, senior executives, and thought leaders, as recorded live at the Healthcare Internet Conference in November of 2023. This series is brought to you by Greystone, Bowstring Media, and Touchpoint Media. Listen in as we hear from our industry leaders on the latest innovative strategies and efforts that are shaping our space. I'm here with Rose Glenn. Rose, you are not only a fellow colleague, someone that I've known for a number of years. We're together in a number of networking sessions, but you actually won a very special award at the HCIC this year, the John Udy's Vision and Excellence Award. That's a big honor. So congratulations.
Thank you so much, Chris. It was a big deal. I take it really seriously that I received an award in the name of John Udy's and what he stood for. So I was absolutely thrilled and really appreciated at this point in my career to be recognized.
Well, you should be recognized because you have been really influencing our industry and actually transforming our industry.
Thank you.
I would love for some people that are watching or maybe listening in, they may not know about you or where you're at. Do you mind sharing a little bit of your background and who you work with? Here at this busy, don't mind the background noise, but in the busy conference center that we're at.
Of course. I have the pleasure of serving as Chief Communications and Marketing Officer of Michigan Medicine. And Michigan Medicine is both the University of Michigan Health System and the medical school. I've been there since April of 2019. And prior to that, I was with Henry Ford Health for 18 years. So learned a lot there and had a great experience. I worked for a wonderful CEO, Nancy Schlichting. And I've had a lovely career, 30 years in executive positions. So
wow,
it's been quite the journey.
Wow, sounds like a journey. And, the function of marketing and communications leadership has changed significantly over the years. I've been in this space for well over 15 years. And when we first came in, marketing was very much siloed over here. It's like you're doing just a little bit, not even the full 4 Ps of marketing. You really have like maybe 1 or 2 of them.
Right.
Now it's different, right? It's marketing. I feel we are now coming into our own here in that good, successful leaders in this environment and that in our industry are finding ways to integrate and start to work with all parts of the organization. What's your perspective on that?
I have really seen that in the latter part of my career. At Henry Ford Health, we worked really closely with operations, IT. It was a very collaborative environment, and I brought that with me when I came to Michigan Medicine. At the time, we had 2 different web teams. One reported to IT, one reported up to me. And Greystone had been in 3 years earlier and in a very diplomatic way said, hey, you need to merge those teams, having them report to one person and really bring in a good leader that could help them flourish. So I talked to the CIO, a wonderful man by the name of Dr. Andrew Rosenberg. And after speaking with him for a couple of hours and talking about the vision, he completely agreed. We merged the teams, had them report to me. I offered a matrix to him. He said no. He would just be an advocate and a collaborator, and he has been that. We formed a governance council, and I asked him to co-chair it with me. So we really do things in a very aligned way, and I don't think we would be successful without that.
Yeah, and at times, it's very natural for organizations such as health systems, very complex organizations. We have very deep expertise and disciplines. CIOs focus on technology and the core infrastructure of what an organization needs, including patient portals and EMRs and things like that. Marketing communications, we have our own focus. The clinical teams have their own focus. The siloed nature of health systems is something that is very instinctive for us to be, but it's actually counterintuitive to where we're at today. This whole concept of working together and operating together is something that I think you're right. It's one of those characteristics of true leadership in an organization and the ability to get things done. The pandemic was a small microcosm of that happening, right? And you were at Michigan Medicine doing that, right? And how we all rallied around trying to communicate to our patients around
vaccines and about how we're going to address this and any kind of those. That was a start in that direction. But I think you're hitting on a good example that I want to spend a little time on, one that's near and dear to my heart too, digital, right? Digital is something that everyone in an organization uses. And in fact, you said right before we started recording, you said no one owns digital. Elaborate a little bit more on that.
So you really are capturing it well. I believe that almost everything an organization does today is digital. So how could any one person own it? It really has to be collaboration with your colleagues in the clinical area and operations, IT, of course, marketing and communications, and many more. But you said how siloed organizations have been, and academic medical centers may be some of the best cases for siloed organizations. When I started, we had more than 315 different external websites that were not connected.
Wait, 315?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Every department chair could do his or her own website, and the website platforms ranged from WordPress to Google, some on old versions of Sitecore or other CMSs, and then there were some still in HTML. So we had a lot of work ahead of us, but it was more than just this is the right thing to do. You have to give the case for change. This is huge change management, and I think all of us see that in the digital world. Things are really changing rapidly, and you have to bring people along, and you have to influence. You can't just say, you know what, this is the way it is, and this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm really proud of the work my web team and my digital team have done, working with chairs, working with faculty, and we are shrinking those 315 sites down to 4.
Wow.
An overall Michigan medicine, a research site, an education site, and then next year a clinical site. And that took a lot of work. But people are really understanding the value, the benefits, especially the benefits to the users,
right?
Which is something we continually stress.
Yeah, always reframe it in the concept of the users. I know that I've been in similar situations, right, where the clinical departments have their own websites, and they almost have a parochial self-interest in keeping these websites because it's part of their identity.
Absolutely.
Right, and they need to tell, and they have the control over what they could say, and they're managing that. But if you think about it, the users of these sites, be it in your case, right, not only people seeking clinical care, patients, potential patients, family members, those sorts of things. You have all the residents and the fellows that are coming to for educational purposes, right? There's a whole academic side to it. There's the clinical research side, which has its own set of stakeholders. Building this framework around how do we all play together in a similar environment makes sense to those stakeholders, doesn't it?
It does, but as you said, it's a piece of their identity.
Yeah.
They look at their site as a reflection on who they are and who their department is. And so there's a really interesting balance that you have to work at so that they can still have some personalization.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're doing the right thing for the users.
Right. And then bringing it into one platform. Now, you and I both know the back end value of that, right? Because not only does it make sense from an ongoing management perspective, tremendously less costly to an organization.
Yes.
It significantly reinforces the brand, right? Because you can manage this, and it gives you those insights that you need, right? So that you can understand that people going to the academic side of the house, this is what they're looking for and how you can reinforce that and build more content, those sorts of things. But again, when we don't do a good job in health systems to look at it from the user's perspective often. Is that fair to say?
That's really fair to say. I think that the whole user experience research has really elevated the role of marketing and MarTech, because we're bringing that in and we take it really seriously. And I think that's what's been able to influence and to persuade, taking all of our user experience data and showing this is what the user wants. And it's brought people along really well. but it's taken a while to get there.
I'm sure it has. And, but bringing that user experience data, right? Because it's become its own science.
Yes.
Back when I started 15 years ago or so, it wasn't as sophisticated.
Absolutely.
Right? And a lot of decisions were made online that were anecdotal. Or maybe they were, I sometimes use the term anecdotal because they have some data, but not enough to really inform what that looks like. I see, though, that clinical teams, physicians, academics in our space, they really respond well to user experience as a science and a discipline. What are your thoughts on that?
You nailed it. If I come into a meeting with the CFO telling him I need money for our external web presence, I better have ROI that shows why this is going to be effective. With the faculty, it's the same thing. I better have scientific data or research showing why this is going to be better for the people they're trying to recruit, better for their existing faculty. It makes such a difference when you talk their language, and their language is data. And so I completely agree. If you bring the science into it, it really helps with the change management.
Now, I know we're going deep into digital, but I mean, this is probably, it could be said about any type of discipline in the marketing communications function. Digital just happens to be a really good one because you have the ability to do this measurement and bringing the data forward and actually visualizing how people are interacting with, the web properties, and you could see return on value. Tell me more what your thoughts are.
Oh, absolutely. Although there have been some recent federal government shifts that are making it a little more challenging to measure, but we are finding new options, and that's been a whole exciting new piece for marketers over the last 5 years. We're really using data analytics to guide the strategy even more than we ever have in the past. Again, really respected by my colleagues across the organization because we can say doing this will result in that. And in many cases it does. And we're able to prove the case. So I think that with the whole MarTech data analytics, really important pieces for us to lead, for us to influence on. But as I noted earlier, I hesitate to say owning digital is what we should do. We should progress the digital pathway for our organizations through collaboration.
Yeah, and you still do those partnerships. I mean, I don't see a marketing team actually owning the patient portal, but I see us influencing the patient portal experience.
Absolutely. Right. And I like how you said that, and influencing through data, because we can show the impact we have. And an example I'll give you right now is we know that underrepresented minorities, children under the age of 5, aren't getting vaccinated at the rates of white children and other children. So we are targeting our messaging to certain populations now, and we will track that closely. And I think we will see good results. And those are really great stories because it's great for our marketing team to bring that kind of value to the organization. But more important than that, it's great for the patients and the families. And those are the kinds of things we're really excited about.
Yeah, and I love that. That's a great example as well, because it really it reflects that, marketing communications has so much influence on so many other disciplines within our industry, within our health systems. And I think that what we can own, and I've said this for years, right, that marketing is kind of the conveyor of the consumer voice or the user voice, so to speak. We have the tools, we have the disciplines. Again, I'm a digital guy, so I'm more digitally minded. But we have that in many other disciplines too, through our market research, through poll studies that we do, bring back information about our brand, those sorts of things. All of those things can be really significantly helpful to advocate for what the consumer voice is and all of these strategies that we're involved with, right?
Absolutely. And a whole new exciting area that we're getting involved in is we have a leader now over environment, social and governance, ESG. And the environment part is all about sustainability. The social is about health equity. And we are working really closely with him because there are things that we can do for him that can help him reach the stakeholders he needs to reach and progress his goals. And so, yeah, I think we are at a really exciting point for people in marketing because there's so many people in the organization that could use our expertise, further their objectives and goals. And, we're there for them to do it. So It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One thing, though, to do this, you're really describing yourself as a change agent, right? Because we're really transforming what marketing, what digital, all of these disciplines that we understand within the marketing communication suite, we're really positioning them a little bit differently, right? And so part of that is change management, which is not a technology skill set. It's really not a marketing skill set. It's a people skill set.
I'm so glad you brought that up. On the front page of Harvard Business Review this month, there's an article, and it is about how you manage, how you inspire change. And a lot of what I do is exactly that. You as a leader have to have that tool set of change management to be able to succeed. And you have to be a great listener as part of that. But then you have to also make that case for change and help people get from point A to point B.
It's kind of ironic, right, that we're hired as seasoned leaders in this space with all of our deep skill set around our disciplines and what we do and those sorts of things. But really the strongest skill set that we have is the ability to not really speak from our source of knowledge and truth, but listen and hear. Is that how you see it, Rose?
The listening piece, when I first started, was really part of being able to gain credibility. Listening and also taking some of the things I was going to do and affecting change in how I did them because I listened. And that's part of the growth in credibility. I think that people do want to hold on to what they are used to and what they are comfortable with. But if you give them data, if you bring them along, and then if you show them the results, circling back and saying, this is what we were able to accomplish for you and for your patients or students or learners, it makes a difference.
Exactly. And it allows you to kind of amplify and expand from there, right? If it's like, we figured out how to do online appointment scheduling for primary care, now let's bring it to the specialties.
Right.
Or we figured out how to do this, now let's amplify this to a much larger audience set or something like that. That's great. I know that you're also a very inspiring mentor and a leader for others. There are people listening in right now that may be thinking, I don't even know how to get started, or I may feel like I'm at my wit's end. What kind of words of advice would you give them?
Well, I do love to mentor. I just took an executive coaching class at the University of Michigan and became certified. So it really is a passion of mine. And it all depends on what the person is looking for. Often I start with, if you feel overwhelmed, create buckets of strategy, structure, and culture, and try to look at what you need to do in all three of those buckets, and then effect change over a reasonable period of time. I knew that I wasn't going to, when I started in April of 2019, 1 year later, have a whole different world around me. And then it got slowed dramatically because of the pandemic. We had a new brand campaign, and we tried to launch it 3 times, and each time COVID was spiking. And I said, that's irresponsible to go out there with a new message when the message we need to get out there is get your vaccines. So you I think, have to have perspective with regards to what's going on in front of you. Be agile, and probably most of all, be willing to collaborate with your colleagues. You have to have an attitude of, I don't know everything. I'm going to listen. I'm going to learn, and I'm going to work with people. It is so much, I think, in not just the best interest of the organization, but the best interest of you as a person to make it work that way.
This is the characteristics of a truly natural leader. And Rose, I really appreciated talking with you here. This is some great insights and great advice that you have given. And I'm so glad that you're part of this space. I'm so glad to know you personally, and thank you for your time.
It's been a pleasure, Chris. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for watching live from HCIC 2023. We hope these insights have sparked new ideas and conversations. A special thanks to the industry experts featured on our show, and to Greystone, Bowstring Media, and Touchpoint Media for making these discussions available. For more episodes and exclusive content, please visit Greystone.Net, Touchpoint.health, or subscribe through your favorite podcast listening platform. If you want to be part of more conversations like this one, please make sure to attend the Healthcare Internet Conference in Austin, Texas. You can find more details at hcic.net.